how to buy a pre-foreclosure step by step. You're about to discover what pre-foreclosures are, how they're so different and much better than foreclosures, why they're ideal for creative investors, and how to make huge profits from them while helping people that are in foreclosure. Whether you're new to real estate or a seasoned veteran, you're going to find this training on pre-foreclosures extremely enlightening. Hi, I'm Brian Bush with Freedom Mentor. I've been a real estate investor for over 20 years, worked with Phil for 15. We've closed hundreds of deals in pre-foreclosure in nearly all 50 states. And we've experienced firsthand the absolute gold mine that pre-foreclosure properties can be. So let's get into the details. But if you have a question, text FREEDOM to 305-315-8030 or comment below. Let's get started. Understanding pre-foreclosure requires we look at the foreclosure process and the steps involved. Foreclosure is the legal proceeding the lender uses when their borrower has defaulted on repayment of a loan, whereby the lender takes ownership of the mortgage property and sells it to recover what they're owed on that loan. The process begins with the default of the borrower. They get behind on payments. After several payments behind, the lender can send a demand letter, which is notice to the borrower to resolve the delinquency. If they don't catch up payments, the lender has an acceleration clause that allows them the contractual right to call the loan due in full. This begins with an NOD, a notice of default, or a lis pendens, a notice of suit pending. That's going to depend on the state and the type of loan. Either way, the public becomes aware this property is now going to foreclosure. That will be the next step, the auction. That may be weeks later, it may be months later, it could be over a year. But that is the foreclosure sale, public auction of the property, and this is where investors that buy foreclosures are buying and bidding and competing against each other. The bank is seeking to recover what they're owed in principal and interest and penalties and fees. That's usually going to set the minimum bid. That may get bid over, it may not. If it doesn't, the bank takes the property back. It becomes an REO, or real estate owned by the bank. If you'd like to learn more about foreclosure, check out Phil's video, Is Buying a Foreclosure a Good Idea? So pre-foreclosure is everything prior to the auction, from the first missed payment to the actual public sale of the property. And that process may take 9, 12, 15 months or more. But this is where we focus, ideally before the acceleration, because there's the least competition. And this is where the seller still has some options. So let's dig into those and how to buy a pre-foreclosure. The first step to buying a pre-foreclosure is finding a borrower in default. They often reach out directly to us. We review their situation. Where are they in their loan? How many payments behind are they? Are they perhaps pursuing a loan modification? A loan mod might be a good solution if they have a temporary hardship that they can come out of. Are they considering or filing bankruptcy, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, and yet it may not resolve the debt? Have they considered renting the property? That might be a good solution for them if they know how to handle the headaches of being a landlord. But oftentimes, despite all these options, they end up needing to sell the property. When they reach out to us directly, we're able to connect with them, hopefully before the acceleration and all the competition begins, and that can be the gold mine you're looking for. Freedom Mentor has proven techniques to have these sellers come directly to us, and that's key. The next step in buying a pre-foreclosure is making an offer to the seller. We first consider the timing. How soon could the property go to foreclosure? Are they working on a loan modification or a bankruptcy? How quickly could they get moved out of the property? What kind of needs do they have? Do they have a place to go? Do they need cash to get there? The equity that they have is going to determine the options that we have, especially when they need cash. We want to make sure that there's an upside in the deal and that it's a good deal for us. Are we going to make a traditional cash offer or do something with creative finance? If you're new to those, check out Phil's video, Creative Real Estate versus Traditional Investing. But if you're familiar with creative finance, you know that these opportunities are great for subject to. We want to be able to get the deal done very quickly. We want to pick up something with a low interest rate often. We can save on closing costs without taking out a new loan or tying up credit. They can also benefit sellers because when we catch up their payments, it helps their credit compared to just paying off the loan in full. So these are opportunities you want to get to know with subject to. If you're new to them, check out my videos, Subject to Real Estate Explained Step by Step. But get familiar with this technique. We're going to see a lot of these over the next year. Once you've dialed in the offer, you're going to get it in writing in a contract, and then we move on to the diligence. The next step in buying a pre-foreclosure is the due diligence. And while we move very quickly in these deals, we have to make sure that we don't miss anything in this step and that we're very thorough. So we want to start by verifying anything to do with the foreclosure so that we don't have surprises on the timing. We next want to look into the loan if we're taking over subject to and order a reinstatement, order a payoff, make sure we understand the interest rate, the balance, the escrow, everything about the loan. We're going to do a very thorough title search. It's a critical step. Understand liens, judgments, the chain of title. Check out Phil's video, Investor Guide to Real Estate Title. That's one that will teach you tons about title and make sure that you not only save money but avoid legal headaches when you're buying property. You want to do a thorough walkthrough of the property. Bring a contractor if you need to, but bring some light bulbs, bring a flashlight, maybe a step ladder. You want to be able to get to know the product you're going to buy. You want to make sure that you identify any showstoppers that may have you pull the plug on the deal long before you order a formal inspection. But understanding the condition of the property is going to help you understand the value of the property because you now know what to compare to with regards to comps. And that's going to help you dial in the potential profit you can make on the deal. You don't want to take something over only to find out you don't have any actual equity and there's no upside in the deal. You want to make sure that if all these pieces are checking out, you do a formal inspection, hire an inspector to make sure that you're absolutely clear on the condition. But if you understand the loan, the title, if you're clear on the condition and the value of the property, you're ready to move forward and determine your exit strategy and close the deal. The final step in buying a pre-foreclosure is the closing. You've made it through the diligence, you've identified a clear exit strategy. Are you going to renovate the property? Are you going to resell immediately? Are you going to hold the property? Short-term versus long-term may impact how you close, when you reinstate the loan if you're taking over subject to. You want to close through a title company or attorney, but in some cases you may not be able to. Are you paying cash for the property? That's simpler, but it may limit the number of deals you can handle. Have you learned to do creative finance? That's going to allow you to do unlimited deals, but they are more complicated, especially for your closer. Do you have the right techniques that allow you to overcome the common problems with subject to, like insurance or the due on sale clause? The complicated nature of pre-foreclosure is really the biggest challenge in comparison with foreclosure. Foreclosures are simpler, but they involve more risk and they require more capital. Pre-foreclosures reduce the risk, you need less cash, but they are more complicated. If you can understand the complications, however, it's where you can make huge profits on these deals. Freedom Mentor has mastered the complications of pre-foreclosure. It's what allows our apprentices to close deals consistently month after month. Alright, so those are the steps to buy a pre-foreclosure. If you have questions, text FREEDOM to 305-315-8030 or comment below. Now there's certainly lots of additional details to each of the steps we've covered, and that's what we teach our apprentices as we do these pre-foreclosure deals together. If you'd like to learn more about pre-foreclosure and residential real estate to build wealth, you can get a free copy of Phil's book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor, just for watching this training by clicking here. And if you'd like to benefit from the techniques that we've mastered to find these deals, handle all of the complications, and learn to consistently add them to your portfolio or flip them for big profits, check out our apprentice program by clicking below. This same program allowed me to accomplish more in 18 months than I had in the previous 8 years as a full-time investor, and it just keeps getting better. Each deal we close with our apprentices adds to our collective experience and wisdom. We turn them into money-making machines, and as they quietly dominate their markets, they transform their lives and their futures. If that's what you're looking for, click below to learn more. Again, I'm Brian Bush with FreedomMentor.com. If you have questions or comments, leave them below. We certainly appreciate your feedback. Thanks for tuning in.